Shavua Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Yoma. We are up to Perek Gimel, Mishnah Hey. Today's Mishnah should be Leilun Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana, Aranbayev, and Eliyahu ben Burcha Israelov, Menuchatam beGan Eden, Amen. Since the previous Mishnah mentioned the daily offerings of incense Ketoret, this Mishnah discusses when this service took place all year round. The Mishnah begins, Ketoret shel Shachar Aita Kireva ben Dam le'Evarim. The incense, the Ketoret of the morning, was offered between throwing the blood of the morning Tamid and burning the limbs of the morning Tamid. Now in the morning, therefore, the sequence was as follows. Number one, the blood of the Tamid was thrown against the altar. Number two, the Ketoret, the incense, was burned on the inner altar. And number three, the limbs of the Tamid were burned on the altar. Now in fact, the commentaries point out the Ketoret was not burned immediately before the Tamid's limbs because the lamps of the menorah were cleaned between these two services, like we mentioned in the previous Mishnah. Our Mishnah's point is that these two services involving the Tamid, namely throwing its blood and burning its limbs, were not done consecutively, rather there was a break between them. Shel ben arbaim ben avrim nesachim. But the incense of the afternoon was offered between burning the limbs of the afternoon tamid and offering the nesachim of the afternoon tamid. Now the word nesachim refers here to the two items that are linked to the tamid offering: the wine that is poured on the altar and the mincha, the flour offering that is burned on the altar. Although this word nesachim, which literally means pouring, usually refers to just the wine, here it's used and in other places as well to include the flour as well. The Mishnah makes a point about the Kohen Gadol's immersion. If the Kohen Gadol was old or delicate and could not bear the cold mikveh water, mechamin lo hamin, they would heat up water for him before Yom Kippur. Now the water had to be heated before Yom Kippur because heating water is a melacha, cooking, which is forbidden on Shabbat and Yom Kippur, as the Rambam explains on his commentary in this Mishnah. They would cast it into the cold mikveh water in Yom Kippur, so that it would lose some of its chill. The hot water did not heat the mikveh water to such an extent that it would be considered cooking. It merely took the edge off the mikveh's coolness. That is in Rabotai Mishnah Hey. Mishnah Vav now continues. After the Kohen Gadol performed the regular daily services of the morning, he prepared for the services that were done only in Yom Kippur. For those services, he changed from his gold garments into white ones. They brought him to the mikvah on top of the house of Parava, which was in the sacred part of the temple, meaning the courtyard. Persu sedin shel butz beno leben ha'am, and they spread a linen sheet between him and the people. Kidesh yadav v'raglav ufashat. He sanctified, he washed his hands and feet, and then removed the gold garments that he had been wearing. Rabbi Meir Omer, but Rabbi Meir says, Fashat kidesh yadav v'raglav. He first removed the gold garments and then sanctified his hands and feet. And the commentators explain, the Kohen Gadol washed twice at each change of clothes. According to the Tanna Kama, the first washing was in honor of the old garments, and the second in honor of the new ones, as the Gemara explains on page 31b in Masechet Yoma. He remained dressed in his old garments when he washed the first time, and he got dressed in the new garments before he washed the second time. According to Rabbi Meir, however, both acts of washing were for the new set of garments. The first before he put them on, and the second after he put them on, as the Gemara explains there. The first time it continues, Zerad v'taval alav v'nistapag. He went down into the mikveh, immersed, came up from the mikveh and toweled himself off. Heviu lo bigdei lavan. They brought him the white garments that were worn for the services unique to Yom Kippur. There were 4 garments: the tunic, the trousers, the belt, and turban. They were called the white garments because they were made of linen, as the Torah says in Sefer Shemot, chapter 30, pasuk 20. This is in contrast to his regular 8 golden garments, some of which were made of gold or contained gold. Lavash v'kidesh yadav raglav. He put them on and sanctified his hands and feet. Now the second Tan and Rabbi Meir agree that the second act of washing was done after the Kohen Gadol was dressed, because the Torah in Sefer Shemot, chapter 30, pasuk 20, teaches that a Kohen must be ready to perform the service immediately after washing his hands and feet, and not have to dress himself at that point. The Rav does tell us, Ven alcha Rabbi Meir, the halacha does not follow the opinion of Rabbi Meir. That is in Rabotai today's Mishna Yomi. Everybody should have a Shavua Tov. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen v'amen.